everyone, welcome to your reading. So today we're taking a look at how your future romantic partner would describe you. So if they had to describe you in their own words, this is what they would say. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Five of Wands, we have the Moon card, we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have She Who Enfolds, Embrace, Self-Care, and Swath. Is it? Yeah, it's Swath. Okay. We have I Speak Positively of Others. I have the little brooch here just because the card's a little bit revealing for YouTube. We have Cancer, we have Simplicity, and we have the Companion card. I will say it makes me so happy that you got the Companion card with loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. This is one of my favorite archetype cards to come out in a reading. I think if you're talking about a healthy, happy, balanced romantic connection or any kind of relationship, the Companion card is such a sweet card to come out. So we'll get back to that. But I want to start here with your tarot. I want to point out that you got the Wheel of Fortune here twice. And so your future partner would describe you as a lucky break in their life. I mean, they feel so fortunate and so grateful that they get to be with you in the future. You know, they feel like the stars aligned just so, the universe set it up just so everything fell into place. I think that there's something really special about your love story with this person, whether it's how you meet or whether it is the timing of how you meet. But it also has a lot to do with your personality and how they view you and how they care for you. I really feel like we're talking about a future partner that is meant to stay in your life for a long time, or they are meant to make a significant impact on your life. You make a big impact on their life. This could absolutely be your future spouse if you're interested in marriage. But with the Wheel of Fortune, they feel like you were meant for me and I was meant for you. We were made for each other, especially with the Companion card being here. They would describe you as their other half. And I think they say that not in a way of like, you complete me, but in a way of you complement me perfectly. Like peanut butter and jelly, salt and pepper, like we are the dynamic duo. We go so well together and we are better together. And, think about it. Like once you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I know it's such a silly example, but once you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it tastes so much better than like a plain jelly sandwich or a plain peanut butter sandwich, right? Again, maybe you don't have that personal preference, but most people would agree, right? There's a reason why those two things go so well together. Or if you think about, I don't know why all these food examples are coming to mind. Maybe you guys are both foodies and you both love to eat. Or maybe one of you is really good at cooking, but it's making me think of macaroni and cheese. Like that's kind of a crowd pleaser. Everyone, for the most part, it's a well-liked food in America. I know that. Most people like mac and cheese, or they at least don't strongly dislike it. It's a crowd pleaser. The general consensus is that macaroni and cheese is good. And yeah, you could put noodles with some other sauce, but is it as loved as macaroni and cheese? I don't know. Is it as comforting as macaroni and cheese? I don't know. But I think that your future partner is coming through and saying, we go together so well, and now that we are together in the future, I can't imagine being with anybody else. I can't imagine anyone else that would compliment me as well as you do. So I think that they're coming through to say, we bring out the best in each other. And that's something that's really powerful. Have you ever spent time with a couple that brings out the worst in each other? It's like individually, these people are cool, but together, whew. And if those people are your parents, woo, it's rough. It's like I can handle mom separately from dad, but you put mom and dad together, oh my gosh, right? We all know couples like that, Like people who, as individuals, they're cool people, but when they're with their partner, it's all drama and arguments and toxicity, and they just bring out the worst traits in each other. And for you all, it's the opposite. You bring out the best in each other. And with the Wheel of Fortune being here too, there's something about you that was so unexpected for your future partner. I feel like maybe they weren't looking for love, or there's something about you that's quite unique that they weren't expecting. Like someone like you exists. You know, it's almost like I made you up in my head. I didn't know you could be real. Like there's this surreal feeling to you guys meeting, to you two connecting, to who you are. Like they almost look at you like this magical fairy, you know, kind of being, like you're like mystical, like, you know, like how are you real? You know, there's something so unique and special and precious about you that they love so much. And quite honestly, tapping into the energy of these cards and reading these cards are reminding me of why I love to do love readings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, when I was starting out with my channel, I noticed they were doing better, so I started making more of them because I wanted my channel to grow. But quite honestly, I love to do love readings, and it's a spread like this that makes me smile, that reminds me of why I love to do love readings so much. And so I just want to take a second to thank you for letting me read your cards today, because they're beautiful cards. And with the Moon card here, I personally associate the Moon with Cancer energy. The Moon is traditionally associated with Pisces and the major arcana, and then Cancer is associated with the Chariot. But I'm just telling you personally, I associate the Moon not just with Pisces, but also with Cancer. Yes, Tallulah. Yes, Kitty. She was meowing. I was going to see if she was going to chirp back at me. We were talking before I started filming. But anyway, so I like to see, also, it wasn't my intention when I was laying out your cards for them to line up, so I think that's cool too. But I feel like there's sort of this energy of, I want to emphasize everything that I'm saying to you. Like your future partner, it's almost like they're trying to tell me group one struggles to take a compliment, or group one, in their mind, they think that you're too modest or that you downplay how amazing you are. And it's like they're speaking with these repeating themes. They're speaking with emphasis because they want you to really take it in. And I don't know if you're going through a hard time right now, if you're just feeling low, but it's like, hit this message home to them. Let them feel what I'm saying. Let them take it to heart. I want them to take this to heart. And so with the Moon card here, I feel like they're saying you're quite a private person. You know, I think that you're pretty strategic about who you reveal certain aspects of yourself to. In some ways, you're a bit of an enigma. And I think that's when people are drawn to you, like the tides follow the magnetic pull of the moon, you know, the gravitational pull. Like I'm drawn to you, and then you push me away a bit, but then I'm brought back to you again, and I want to know more. But I think that you're not trying to make people work for it, but I think you have an understanding that not everyone is entitled to your story. And I think you're quite protective of yourself, and you're protective over the people that you love too. And I think they're saying they appreciate that. And they appreciate that you don't share all of yourself with everybody. They appreciate and respect that. And I think they're going to respect how protective you are over the connection and over them too. Like the crab has that hard outer shell. And I think with Cancer energy, a lot of times we're talking about this fierce maternal instinct to protect. That's what I associate Cancer with. Cancer defends the family. You know, with Cancer, and I don't mean blood family. I mean those that they view as their family. It can be found family. It can be their friends. It can be their romantic partner. but it's just this sense of I'm going to protect those that I love, and I'm going to protect our home together and our life together and our connection. And they respect that. They respect that you don't badmouth them to everybody when you guys have an argument. You know, you keep it between you two and you work it out. And if you have a problem with them, you say it to their face, you know, in due time. Because with the Cancer and the Moon, you do take time to process your emotions and your feelings. And you may confide in a trusted source, but you don't go and gossip or badmouth your partner to anybody and everybody when you two have a disagreement. You know, you're protective over the connection. You know, you keep things private. You treat your connection with respect. And they love that about you. And they love your emotional depth and your sensitivity and your intuitiveness. And they love how dreamy you are and how imaginative you are. I think that your mind is something that is so just so interesting to them. And with the 5 of Wands here, and especially with the word tenacity showing up on this companion card, they love how you fight for them, and you fight for the connection, and you fight for what you believe in. Like you're a little fighter, you know, you're scrappy, you're tough. Like you have this beautiful, soft, like feminine energy to you. You know, you have this creativity to you, this dreaminess, this like fairy-like energy, but you're tough. You're tough. And there's also something they're telling me people underestimate how strategic you can be. I feel like you're one of those people, you know how they say, like, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer? I think you do that in the sense of you sit back and you observe people. You're very observant. You're very good at reading a room, reading an energy. Other people may love somebody, love them. They can be so popular. But for you, you see past the facade that people present. And so someone else may ask you, why don't you love, I don't know, let's say Hannah. Why don't you love Hannah? Hannah's so nice. Hannah's so cool. Why don't you ever talk to Hannah? And you're not mean to Hannah, but you kind of hold back. Because there's something about Hannah intuitively you don't trust. Something about Hannah that makes you seem, or makes you feel like maybe she's a snake in the grass. Something about Hannah seems a little bit off to you. And I think your future partner is going to look at you initially and not get why you're like this. But time and time again, you're going to show your future partner that you're right about people. That you have like a sixth sense. And they're going to be amazed. And I think that they're going to trust your judgment, trust your discernment. They're going to come to you and say, like, can I trust this person? Because they know you have a sense about these things. You're good at reading people. So then it turns out Hannah's a jerk, you know, and Hannah's done something to betray someone very close to her. And Hannah is very sneaky, and Hannah lies. And so over time, all of this would come out, right? Because people can't hide who they are, but for so long, right? Whatever is done in the dark always comes to light. And other people are going to be like, man, group one, how did you know that about Hannah? And you're like, I just knew something was off with her. I felt it energetically. Like, you can't really logically explain it. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. And I think you kind of have this energy too, where your future partner is telling me your loved ones feel safe with you. There's such a safe, comforting, warm energy to you. Like you feel like a warm, fuzzy blanket on a winter's day. And I know that might sound cheesy, but that's what it is. That's your energy. You're warm. You're protective. But not in a way that feels smothering. They're telling me you don't smother. You may be nurturing, but you don't smother. You respect other people's boundaries. Because you, coming forward with Cancer, that hard outer shell of the crab, you yourself have strong boundaries, so you respect other people's as well. Because you want your boundaries to be respected, and you understand, that's a give and take dynamic there. And they love how even if you don't like somebody, you don't trust somebody, you don't F with somebody, you don't really necessarily want to be around them like that, you still don't speak ill of them. You are very mindful and very careful about what you say about other people, because I think you have this very spiritually mature understanding that when you speak negatively about somebody, a couple things with that. If you're wishing them active harm, that energy is going to come right back to you. It is. Revenge comes at a price. 2, you understand that if you're speaking negatively about somebody, first, it's important to ask yourself, what are they doing that is triggering to me? And is it triggering to me because something about it reminds me of something about myself that I don't quite like? And they're reminding me of a part of myself I tried to repress. So am I projecting what I don't like about myself onto them? Is that happening? You're very mature. You're so mature. And I think that maturity is something that your future partner really, really appreciates about you. And with this simplicity card here, I feel like they love how easy things are with you. And I think it's because, especially with it being next to this companion card and all of this gold, yellow, color story we're seeing with these 2 cards here, a couple things. I feel like you two have a real, genuine friendship. Even if you weren't romantically involved, you would still have a real friendship, and that makes it easy. So maybe you have similar interests, maybe you have a similar sense of humor. You're just very high in your compatibility. It's easy for you two to talk to each other. You have a natural rapport, that kind of thing. I also feel like with the simplicity card, they like how you very clearly and plainly express how you feel. And I think it's because you take that time to reflect on how you feel versus reacting and responding in a moment. And I think they appreciate that, because when we react and we respond in the moment, yeah, it's good to get it out there and to not ruminate on it. But at the same time, when we're in the heat of the moment, it's the heat of the moment. We are emotionally charged. And we may not express ourselves in the most articulate way. We may not express ourselves in the most respectful way. We may say something we regret out of anger. And we may not even get to the heart of what is really bothering us because we haven't taken time to reflect on it. So I don't think that you hold on to grudges, but you do take your time to emotionally process things, then you talk about it. So then you can come from a place where you're calm and you're grounded. And you're not all in your feelings, overreacting or acting out of your character, or again, putting yourself in a position where you're going to say something you regret. Because even when we're right, playing to win every single time is going to end up in a fractured relationship. You should play to understand. You should play to reach common ground. You should play to compromise. You should play to reach a place of forgiveness, a place of mutual understanding, not just necessarily just winning, right? And you get that. I think they also really love They're telling me you're someone who expresses love in a way that's easy to understand. You know how some people it's hard to get a read on their emotions, or it's hard to understand how they feel about somebody because maybe they're just really closed off, or they don't really say it. They don't really say how they feel, so you have to really watch their behaviors. With you, I feel like you not only say how you feel and you speak from the heart and you speak plainly, and you're not afraid to say how you feel. When you're in a relationship, you're not afraid to say how you feel. And you're not afraid to express your love for somebody. I think you're very sweet and affectionate when you're in a romantic partnership. But also, I feel like you're the type of lover where you're able to acclimate to somebody else's love language. Like, even if it's not your love language or your typical way of expressing love, if, let's say, someone's love language is acts of service, and you're more of a words of affirmation, gift-giving type of person, I think you would be smart enough to pick up on it. And even if you didn't pick up on it naturally, if they told you, hey, it makes me feel really loved when you do these like small little things for me to help me out. Makes me feel loved when you care about me enough to do X, Y, and Z. You would do that. You wouldn't have a problem doing that. And you wouldn't have a problem expressing how you want to be loved and how you like to receive love and how you like love expressed to you. I just think you're really good at relationships, and that's something that your future partner really loves about you. You just have so much emotional maturity. I think you're someone who does a really good job of connecting to other people. You have great people skills. Whether you realize it or not, you truly do. All right, group 1, now we just have some messages here from your future partner to end your reading. If they could say something to you now, what would they say? We have call your energy back to you, energy, power, aura, and depletion. We have you can let go now, surrender to what is, acceptance, letting go, water, and non-resistance. We have sometimes you will break before you bloom, breaking into bloom, time, liberation, and understanding. I think we picked up on this a little bit before when we were talking about them feeling the need to sort of emphasize things to you. Because I do feel like maybe right now you're feeling a bit low, you're feeling a little bit down, maybe just tired, maybe just a bit tired. For others of you, it may be a more extreme energy, but for some of you, I think you're just feeling a bit worn down. And so if there are some things in your life right now that you don't feel like are fully in your control, or things aren't what you want them to be, you feel like there's something lacking, something missing, or if you're just waiting on your person and you're feeling lonely and you're feeling tired of waiting, if you're starting to feel impatient about your love life, I feel like your future partner is coming through to reassure you that, especially with the Wheel of Fortune coming up twice in your reading already, it's a matter of divine timing, and it's outside of your control, and it's going to happen when it's meant to happen. And so the best thing, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to love yourself, focus on pouring in love into yourself, accept what is, surrender, let go. It's going to happen when it's meant to happen. And sometimes it's that process of breaking soil. It's that process of growth, of self-evolution that can feel uncomfortable, but that process can sometimes prepare us to be ready for the love of our life, for our life partner, for our person. This feels like I said, the love of your life. I mean, this could be your future spouse. This could be someone who makes a great impact on your life. This feels like an important relationship. So, of course, you need to be ready for it. And they need to be ready too. So it's about making peace with the timing of things. Making peace with the timing of things. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Group 2, welcome to your reading. So we have the Seven of Swords, we have the Knight of Wands, we have the Two of Swords, we have the Empress, we have She Who Forgives, Elixir, Remorse, Guilt, and Forgiveness. We have Gemini, we have I Consume Only My Fair Share, we have Transformation, and we have Exorcist. There are a lot of messages coming through. I hope I can be kind of clear and organized about it, but if I jump around a lot, I'm sorry, it's just a lot of messages. Your future partner has a lot to say, One thing that they're telling me is that you're such a puzzle. You are such a puzzle. There's so many different sides to you. And it's like, as they're dating you, as they're getting to know you in the future, they think they have you figured out. And then as soon as they think they've come to this place of understanding about who you are, you switch it up on them. There's something about you that is very interesting. You're not easily defined. You're just this puzzle that they've enjoyed trying to solve, but they don't think that they'll ever fully solve it, you know? They have this feeling of, will I ever fully know group 2? I don't know. But they keep me on my toes. They keep me guessing. You don't always react the way that they expect that you're going to react. There's an element of you that's a bit unpredictable. And I think it's fun for them. I think they enjoy that. I think they enjoy that you're not easily defined, that you're not easily put into a box. Sorry, y'all, I got interrupted there. But as much as you keep them guessing, as unpredictable as you can be, at the same time, because I think that keeps things fun, I think that keeps things interesting, but at the same time, there's something about you that is so trustworthy, you know, and it makes them feel so good to have that, because I think in the past, they have dealt with people who presented a false version of themselves, whereas with you, you make no apologies about who you are, and you make no apologies for all the different sides to you. You make no apologies for being a complicated person, and they love that. They love that they can trust you, and they know that even if you act in certain ways that they can't predict, you know, if they can't always read your moods, or they can't always assess how you're going to feel about a situation, they still love that even though there is that unpredictable kind of aspect of you, they know that your intentions are always good. And they know that you always mean well. And they know that you always, you know, try to do the best for the connection. And they know how much you care about them. They know you have good intentions. And so they don't feel like they have to watch their back with you. They don't feel like they have to keep both eyes open with you, you know, like sleep with one eye open. They can trust you. And I think that's saying something, because they have dealt with a lot of inauthentic people. People who are sneaky, people who are shady, people who are very self-serving. And you're not like that. You know, it's like you're fun, you're adventurous, you are complex, you know, you're interesting. You're a unique character. But at the same time, you're not untrustworthy. Because I think sometimes people go romantically for people who feel solid, who feel safe. You know, they want to be with someone that is predictable. You know, they follow a routine and they're very structured, and there's no questioning, there's no guessing about it, because that feels safe, right? That feels like it can almost give you like a false sense of security. Like I know them so well because they're so easy to read. They follow the same routine. They have these certain habits, and they don't like a lot of change. And so they're not restless. So they're going to be faithful to me. And that's not always the case. Some people like to have that solid home life or that solid relationship with somebody, and then they like to have their fun on the side, and it's almost like they live a double life. And so that's why sometimes romantically people go for people who are safe and predictable. But with you, you're not safe and predictable. However, you're still very trustworthy. And so your future partner is telling me you get like the best of both worlds. You know what your energy is kind of like? You're kind of like Phoebe on Friends. You're kind of like Phoebe, because I don't know if y'all remember the episode. It was actually one of my favorite episodes of Friends, where Phoebe, and I think his name is Mike. I was going to say Paul Rudd. His name is Mike. She is dating Mike, and she starts to have a lot of anxiety. You know, she's feeling really good about it, but she talks to Ross, and he tells her, oh, I just think it's so cool that you have like this lighthearted, fun approach to dating and life, and that you don't care that you haven't had a long-term relationship like ever. And she's like, oh my God, I've never had a long-term relationship like ever. And she starts to have a panic about it. And then she second guesses herself. She gets all in her head. And then Ross tries to remedy the situation by talking to Mike. And then he lets it slip to Mike that she's never had a long-term relationship. And it's just a mess. Like Ross really puts his foot in his mouth. It's just a mess. And it's a very I always thought Ross and Phoebe had a really sweet and cute dynamic together. Especially the episode where he buys her a bicycle. But anyway. So the whole thing is to say she ends up marrying Mike. And even though she's always been like this free spirit, it's hard to guess what's going to come out of Phoebe's mouth. She's not a predictable character. But she ends up surprising herself in wanting a traditional kind of life and marriage. And, she says she wants to be maybe like a soccer mom or something. And that's a surprise to her. But it's one of those things where even though she has never really had like a long-term relationship, when she gets with Mike, she's faithful to him, she's not, they have a healthy relationship together. And so it's like, even though on paper you may seem like a little bit of a risk, you may seem like a little bit of a risk because you have this free-spirited kind of energy to you, like Phoebe. Phoebe was really free-spirited. She was unique. She was different. She wasn't, easy to figure out. Phoebe was a character. And I think you're like that. I think you're a little bit quirky. You're a little bit different. And I think that's really special. That's really special that you're so unique and different. And I think that your future partner appreciates that about you, that you're so fun, but you're also so honest and loyal and faithful. It's like they get the best of both worlds. And I think with the Empress card here, they really want to say how beautiful you are. They want to say how attractive you are, handsome, cute, whatever word you want to use, but they think you're beautiful. They think you are so beautiful. And I don't know if you don't necessarily always feel that way, and that's why they wanted to point it out to me. But they think you're so beautiful. I think that they are very smitten with you as soon as they see you. They're just very taken with you. The minute they lay eyes on you, they are smitten with you. That's the word that's coming through, smitten. Very taken in with you. And they love, too, I consume only my fair share. They love how you relate to nature, how you relate to animals. That's why I said you remind me of Phoebe. Phoebe was a vegetarian. Phoebe really cared about the earth. She had like hippie vibes. That's you, you really care about living an ethical life and not over-consuming. You wouldn't be, how you see, not to shame anybody, but just as an example, y'all, as an example. How on social media, you'll see people displaying like 50 Starbucks cups and like 10 Stanley cups and then like 20 water bottles, like all on these like shelves. And it's like, how, it's okay to be a collector. I'm not shaming collectors. But it's just like they have so much, It's just so much. And you're not someone who's like that. You don't have so much, you don't overconsume, you're the type of person to recycle, you just care. You don't, buy a ton of fast fashion, or you don't purchase certain companies maybe that test on animals, or things like that. Or you may be vegetarian or vegan, but you just really care, or you care about animal rights. You care about animals in a way that a lot of people don't. I will also say with the She Who Forgives card, I do think that you and your future partner do have common ground, because I do feel like this may be a connection where opposites attract a little bit. But I think where you two share common ground is that both of you have been lied to, betrayed, hurt in the past. You've had disappointing connections. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in love. It could have been in friendship or with family, or maybe all of the above. But I think both of you have encountered this Seven of Swords kind of energy, which is a really unpleasant energy. I mean, this is where people stab you in the back, you know, it's not good. And I think both of you almost kind of feel like this is kind of like my reward. You know, like I went through all of that. It taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about trust. It taught me a lot about boundaries. And by releasing myself of all that, by forgiving, letting go, reaching a place of acceptance, becoming indifferent to it, you know, whatever you want to call it, now I'm at this place where I found my person and it feels so good. So I feel like you two will have a lot of compassion for each other and a lot of empathy because you've been through similar things with other people. And so you two really understand each other and you understand what it feels like to be stabbed in the back, you know, like you understand it. And I think you two have a lot of empathy for each other in your specific situations, and you can talk about it and get that authentic emotional support from each other, especially if you're still going through it, you know, when you're dating. And with transformation, especially with it being beneath the Empress card here, your future partner really loves to watch you grow. And I love that so much because I think sometimes in relationships, and not just romantic connections, this happens in friendships too, or even with family, people assign us to these roles and they want you to stay in that role. And when you step out of it, people have a hard time reconciling that. I'll give y'all a personal example just to give context to what I'm saying here. So when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't really tell anybody, but once you know, it got to a place to where I felt comfortable sharing that this was something that I was doing, and I still don't share it with everybody. I still try to be careful about who I talk about it with. But when I started to talk about it, some people's reactions were not what I expected. You know, I just thought people would say, "Oh, that's nice. Good for you," or "Good luck with that." You know, just whatever. You know, like it didn't have to be a whole big thing. But I just expected people to say, "Oh, that's nice. You know, good luck, whatever." And instead, I had some people kind of say, "Well, are you sure that's something that you can really do? Like, I thought you were afraid of public speaking." And I'm like, well, at this point, now that I'm talking about it, I've been doing it for a minute and it's been fine. And that's, you know, something I struggled with when I was in like grade school, but I'm 30 years old, you know, like it's been a minute since I've been in grade school, you know, like I've grown since then. But people had this image of like, well, Bethany's really shy. Bethany's afraid to talk in public. That's not something Bethany can do. And I was like, well, I'm sitting here telling you that I've been doing it. Like I'm doing it. I'm actively doing it. I'm not even talking about something I want to start. I've been doing this. This is a thing. This YouTube channel is a thing. It's happening. It's actively happening. And some people just could not accept that, you know, like they just were like, are you sure that's going to work out? I mean, like essentially, like, are you sure that you're confident enough to do something like that? Again, I've been doing it. It's been a thing. Like, and even with me actively pursuing something, they still could not reconcile the idea that I had changed and evolved from their concept of me. Could you imagine if I had went to them before I had even started? They would have tried to talk me out of it. And so I think just sometimes people have a hard time letting people grow, letting people change. And you may, if you are vegetarian or vegan, maybe you encountered that too. I mean, when you make a big lifestyle change, people are like, are you sure you can do that? Are you sure you can pull that off? Are you sure you're going to stick with it? It's like, why are you planting these seeds of doubt in my mind? Why not just say, good luck with that? I wish you well. And then if I fail miserably, be there to say, oh, I'm sorry that didn't work out, and give me that support then. Why does it have to be? So I just think that you've dealt with that a lot. And I'm happy to report your future partner is not that kind of person. If you come to them and say you want to do something, they're not going to tell you all the reasons why they think you're going to fail at that thing. They're going to encourage you. They're going to support you. And they're going to grow with you. Because I think sometimes that happens too. When you're growing and evolving so quickly or at a faster rate than someone else you're close to, and if they're not seeing their life progress, if they're staying stuck and stagnant, if they're not changing for the better, if they're not growing, if they're not evolving, it makes it hard to maintain the relationship. And I've seen that with friendships. I mean, there are some people where I'm like, you are still acting and operating as if you are a teenager still. Like I've had some long-standing friendships where I'm like, you still act the way you acted when we met each other, when we were teenagers, when we were in our early 20s. We are now in our 30s. Like we may be in our early 30s, but we are now in our 30s. How are you still acting the same way when we first met each other? And that's why it's so important to grow together, because if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. Because the people that my teenage self or that myself in my early 20s thought were good friends or thought were good people to be around, now me as a 30-year-old, I'm like, that's not someone who's good to be around. That's not someone that I would choose to be friends with as a 30-year-old. I'm 30. I don't want to be friends with someone who acts like they're 17 still or acts like they're 22 still. Some people just don't grow. They don't evolve. And then it's almost like they resent you for changing, but you're meant to change. You're meant to grow. You're not meant to stay the same all the time. So I really, really love this for you. I love that you have a future partner that encourages your growth, that grows with you, that is excited to see you transform and bloom. I mean, yes, and I think that you two are going to help each other really achieve your goals. I feel like you two kind of operate like a power couple here. And with Exorcist, I feel like this relationship marks the end of an era that was dominated by the Seven of Swords energy. We are exercising that energy. We're getting away from that energy. We're done with people who are self-serving and liars and cheaters and manipulators. We're done. Goodbye. Wish you well. Bye. That's beautiful. That's incredible. I feel like both of you karmically deserve each other. You've been put through the ringer, and this is the kind of connection you deserve. And I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. This is a blessed connection. Very highly, highly blessed. You two are like each other's biggest fan. I'm your cheerleader. I'm going to support you. I want to see you win. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you prove them all wrong. It's such a supportive connection. And the last thing I'll say before we get into your final cards here is that they really, really love how you protect your energy. They love how you do that. They love how you don't let negativity kind of get through your bubble. And I think you probably are someone who has certain spiritual practices or things that you do to protect your energy. It can be something as small as like wearing an evil eye ring, or, you know, something with the evil eye, like a keychain, necklace, earrings, whatever. It could be that you keep certain crystals around you for protection. Maybe you do like salt baths. Maybe you pray a lot, but there's something that you do actively to protect your energy. And I mean, maybe you don't do this now. Maybe this is what you do in the future when you two are together. But I mean, they love that about you. They love how you have this understanding of energy. And maybe they're totally different from you and they never thought about energy the way that you do. But I think there's something about your spiritual side that is so interesting to them. Now, this could be something that you two share in common. It's going to vary for all of you. I'm not getting a clear read on that, so I'm sure it's going to vary because it is a general reading, but they love your spiritual side. They love it. Okay, and now we have some final messages from your future partner here. We have blessings and curses, psyche, self-love, beauty. Do not be ashamed, not of your thorns or of your flowers. We have I am in divine flow and move in alignment, yin and yang, unity, balanced energy, manifestation. And we have the shaman. Does this say lunatic? Insight and cosmos. What does it say? Am I crazy or is it the moon? Okay. What I really love about your cards is this yin and yang energy. So I do feel like you're coming through in that divine feminine energy, and your future partner is the divine masculine. And I talked about opposites attract and how, I really feel like you two help each other to grow. And that makes sense if you have the yin and the yang coming together, why you two would come across as like a power couple, because together, a balance of that energy, you're able to achieve so much more. And being in divine flow, I feel like, together you will help each other accomplish a lot. And with the shaman here, we were just talking about how they appreciate your spiritual side. And I think that they really appreciate how you're mindful of energy, how you read energy, and how I feel like you really assess how other people affect your energy. And so you're careful about the company that you keep. And with blessings and curses here, do not be ashamed, not of your thorns or of your flowers. That's the thing, like, your future partner is going to love you as a whole person. It's not like, I love you, but I tolerate these certain things about you. It's like, I accept that you are a dynamic, complicated, flawed person, just like all of us have flaws. I don't expect you to be perfect. I'm not putting you on a pedestal and romanticizing you, and ultimately when people do that, there's disappointment. None of that. They think highly of you, but they see you for who you authentically are. And they love that you make no apologies about who you are. I think that they have great respect for how you have fought to love yourself and accept yourself, especially when you've been around people who made you feel quite the opposite. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer. donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Last but not least, welcome to your reading. Okay, we have the 10 of Wands, we have the 6 of Wands, we have the 6 of Pentacles, we have the High Priestess, we have She Who Begins, Primavera, Launch, Actualize, and Potential. We have I Follow My Inner Guidance, we have Taurus, we have Faith, and we have Angel, helping those in need with no expectation of return. So very altruistic energy there. Okay, your group is maybe my favorite today. This is very cute. And no surprise, I feel like you all are probably my most spiritual group. Group 3 tends to be. But your future partner is coming through to say immediately, you are so angelic to them. Like, you're just an angel to them. Like, they have a real sense of appreciation for how giving you are and how kind you are and how much you do for other people. And like it says on this angel card, with no expectation of return. Like, you give from such a pure and loving place. You work really, really hard. You know, you have such a strong work ethic, but it's not from a place of like ambition, of just wanting to get ahead for the sake of getting ahead, or feeling the need to prove yourself or to get validation from others. It's more so you working hard to create a life for yourself where you feel like your life reflects your values, where you feel genuinely happy, where you feel authentic and true to yourself, where you feel like I've worked really hard to create this beautiful life for myself. And so because of that, because I am happy with myself and my choices, I have enough to give to others because I myself am not feeling depleted. Your future partner is saying, in the past, you did kind of set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You did. You know, in the past, you gave too much. I think by the time you meet this future partner, you've learned to set limits with that. You've learned that you can't save everybody, and that sometimes when you try to save people too much, you cheat them out of learning the lessons that they're meant to learn. And some people just aren't ready to receive help. And so with the Six of Pentacles here, I feel like you're a lot more wise now about who you give your help to, who you give your energy to. And I think that by the time you meet this future partner, while you have learned to set limits on who you give to or be mindful of who you give to, you're still operating at a very independent level. And your future partner is coming through and saying, I respect your independence, I do, but I wish that you would let me help you. You know, you help everybody else, let me help you. You can trust me to let me help you. You don't have to take on so much of this burden by yourself. You know, like they respect with the Six of Wands, everything you built for yourself. They have so much respect for that, but they love you and they want to help you in any way that they can make your life a little bit easier. They want to be able to do that. They care about you. And, you know, I think with the High Priestess and the Faith card here, they are just amazed, amazed at how intuitive you are. And I follow my inner guidance. I mean, I think that's part of it too, is that because you follow your inner guidance, you don't really come to them very much for advice. You know, you follow your inner guidance and you're very intuitive and you walk in your faith. That High Priestess mystic energy, I mean, you are like the mystic, the divine archetype of the mystic. That's you. I mean, you're coming forward in a very divinely feminine energy. And the mystic is very insular. That's the word that's coming forward, insular. Like she's very self-contained. Like she manages her affairs internally. You know, she doesn't go to external sources for advice. She may use spiritual practices like tarot cards, oracle cards, prayer, meditation, but she does not seek advice outside of herself. And so your future partner is saying, I respect your process, I do, but even if you don't want to come to me for advice, and I don't think necessarily that you need my advice because they do recognize how intuitive you are, they still want to be able to give you emotional support. They're like, you know, I understand your independence. I understand how intuitive you are. I get that you don't need me in that way. But can you still come to me for emotional support? Can you still do that? Because they just want to feel like they have a place in your life. And I think sometimes they look at you just in wonder and awe of how much you've been able to achieve for yourself and how successful you are and how you're just this incredible force, because what's amazing about you is that you have achieved and gained so much by playing by your own rules. You are so unapologetically divinely feminine in a greater society that favors masculinity. You have won the game by not playing by the rules. You have won the game by not following a traditional path. You have won the game by being authentically yourself, being divinely feminine, going your own way, doing the exact opposite of what everyone says you're supposed to do. And you haven't lost yourself in the process. You've stayed true to who you are. So your future partner recognizes that, respects that, applauds that, but they want to have a place in your life. And I think sometimes they feel like they are on the outskirts of things. And I think the way they want to be included is that they want to give you more emotional support. They want you to be more open to that. They want you to be more open to letting them help you, because they keep taking me back to this idea of you almost just being on like your own island And you may be really introverted, but it's like there's a whole world going on inside of you. And you may find that when you're with this person, they ask you all the time, like, what are you thinking about? What's on your mind? Where'd you go just now? Where'd you go? You seem distant. They just want to feel closer to you. Your reading's very different than the other two groups, but they just want to feel closer to you. With Taurus here, they are very physically attracted to you. Very physically attracted. Taurus is a beautiful, beautiful energy. It's Venus energy. You are just so, so beautiful to them. They're so physically attracted to you. And there's this, you see how the little bull here is like striving for the Taurus glyph in the corner of the card there. It's like they almost, maybe sometimes they feel like they don't deserve you, or they feel like they have to go about supporting you almost in like a sneaky way, because you try to do so much on your own, and they want to spoil you. And I feel like you aren't really comfortable with that. And it makes sense, because sometimes the most giving people don't know how to receive. So I think by the time you've met this person, you have learned a lesson about overgiving. You have learned how to set boundaries and be mindful of who you give to, but I don't think you've quite learned how to receive yet. And I think your future partner is going to help you with that, because they want to spoil you. They want to treat you. They want to give to you. And I think you need to learn how to receive without feeling the need to give back, to balance it out. It's like, it's okay. You give so much to the connection already. Let me give to you now. And I think they have so much respect for how you're a self-starter, and how you don't really rest for too long. You're always trying to evolve and grow and start something new. And I think that they find that really inspiring. Like you work hard. You're a hard worker. They give you your flowers. They give you your credit. I think you even struggle to accept a compliment sometimes, group 3. And I feel like you have such a loving future partner that just wants to shower you with attention and gifts and love and words of affirmation. Like they want to love you from every possible love language. And maybe you've never been with another giver before. I don't know, but there's just this energy of like, let me love you. Let me spoil you. Let me do this for you, please. Just let me love you. Let me hold you. And I think you're a little bit stubborn. I think maybe you're also afraid of getting your heart broken. And maybe that's why sometimes you hold back. Maybe that's why sometimes you don't always open up. And so I think it's a process. I think we're honestly tapping into an energy of like when you two are dating. Because I feel like they just have some things they need to say to you. And that's coming forward. Like, I don't want this to be a problem. So let me love you. And you can trust me, and it's okay. I do think that there's something also, it's not just the way you look, but there's something about your style and the way that you present yourself, especially if you wear makeup. They really, really love how you do your makeup. There's something about that. They almost look at it like that's art, like there's something about it. Even if you wear like natural makeup, that in and of itself can be artistic. If you're like, are you wearing makeup? Like sometimes the no makeup look takes more effort than like a full glam face. So anyway, there's something about the way you do your makeup. if you wear makeup that they really, really love. But in general, something about your personal style, something about your accessories that they really think is cool. I mean, they really think it's cool. Some of you may be artists or creative types. They love that side to you. I do think sometimes you get melancholic, and that's when they want to come in and they want to make you feel better and they want to cheer you up. And I think sometimes you just like to kind of sit with it. I think it's going to be a process for them to understand your different weathers, your different moods. I think you're someone where crying makes you feel better. Or you do something where like they feel like you're in distress, but you're like, no, this is part of like my process. Yeah, I think that in some ways they are slower to understand you, but I think most people are slow to understand you because of how removed you are. And I think that's on purpose. I think that that's a form of protection for you. But I think it's the fact that they have enough patience to try to understand. They have enough patience to try to figure out how you want to be loved and how they can best help you and how they can teach you to be comfortable with receiving. And it's the fact that even when you don't always make it so easy, group 3, and I'm not saying you should make it easy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your energy. I love the mystic energy. But I think that you're such a unique individual that it's just harder for them, like, okay, this is maybe a weird analogy, but you know how sometimes it's really hard to buy something for somebody who always gives the best gifts? You're like, that person always is able to buy the most thoughtful, unique, and special gifts. What do I buy them? What do I get for them? How do you buy something, give someone something who is the very best at gift giving? And that's kind of like your energy. Like, you are like the giver of all givers. So like, what do I give to you that isn't going to pale in comparison to what you have already given me? I think that's the struggle here. That's the struggle. In some ways, group 3, you can kind of show up as like the ideal friend, the ideal romantic partner, the ideal family member, and it's like, how do I match that energy? And your person is trying. They are really, really trying. And I think that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Other people might give up and just get you a gift card, but they are metaphorically, putting in that effort. You can sometimes be someone who embodies 2 different extremes at the same time. And they're telling me an example of this that they would say is that you're like the most soft-hearted person, but you have like nerves of steel. You're such a soft-hearted person, but yet mentally you can take on so much. So it's like you're able to oscillate between 2 different extremes or embody 2 different extremes at the same time. And they think that that's magic. Like, they would describe you as just magic. Like, there's something otherworldly about how you're able to do that. How you can be the softest person they know, but also be the strongest person they know. I think they feel that something is very special about that. Okay, and these cards here are just some final words from your future partner. If they could talk to you now, So we have, if you're in need of a lesson, there's wisdom in the trees, spirit of the tree, nature, priestess. We have the high priestess coming in again, and inner peace. We have, you don't need it, all figured out, the gifted guide, stars, chaos, and opportunity. Even more about you being like a mystical gifted guide. I love that. We have, I hope that everyone, oh, what does it say? Oh, I hope, Lord, I can't even talk. Good thing this is my last group of the day, man. I filmed another reading before this. I think my mind is just like starting to shut off. It says, I hope that over everyone else, you learn to make yourself proud. Flower child, momentum, creativity, and action. There is something about you that feels close to divinity. I mean, you're just very close to spirit. You're a child of the divine, a child of the universe, for sure. But I feel like if you've been feeling spiritually disconnected here lately, and that happens even to the most spiritual of people, we all go through those times of feeling disconnected. But if you've been feeling energetically like you haven't checked in with yourself in a minute, if there's something that you're going through right now, your future partner is saying, you know what to do, so just put it into action. You benefit when you get out into nature. You know that you benefit when you go into kind of like hermit mode, for a minute, and you spend time with your own company, enjoy your own company, reconnect with yourself. You know that you feel better when you're aware of maybe like certain astrological transits that are happening, or what phase of the moon we're in, or you feel better when you have a sense of the universe and like your connection to it. And you know that you feel better when you take time to creatively express yourself and connect with yourself in that way. So it's like, what would make you feel better. You just need to do those things. And, you already have all the wisdom needed within you to feel more aligned. And so it's like, we can say all this, but we're not telling you anything that you don't already know. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading.
Pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil. soleil.